Good. Good morning, everyone. This is June Riley, CEO of VC Task Force. Thank you for joining us this morning. And as many of you know, VC Task Force is an organization that supports the venture community by addressing issues of the day. We have programs for investors, we have programs for entrepreneurs, we have programs for investors and entrepreneurs, and this is one of those programs. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the floor over to Gary, and he will tell you about today's event. Take it away, Gary.
Yeah, thank you, June. Really appreciate the time and trouble, and you know, for one more edition of Gary's Picks. My name's Gary Fowler, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've done 17 startups, been involved in 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion about 30 months ago, a little over 30 months ago. And also Yva.ai, one of the AI HR tech companies, one of the top 10 in the world that I started 5 years ago with Dr. David Yang. So it's with great pleasure that I'm here today. It's a great pleasure to be here. And I'd like to introduce Kukoyi, who's an entrepreneur who just loves technology. In fact, he calls himself a tech entrepreneur and disruptor. So looks at traditional markets. He is the CEO and founder of Technomini Limited. At Nomini, he oversees the creation from idea to execution of innovative tech solutions that disrupt sectors that drive the economy of the world. I love this, by the way. He drives the economy of the world. His latest product is Quickread, a content monetization engine for content creators. He has over 7 years worth of experience working on national policy and trends to improve the quality of education in Nigeria and Africa at large, which is a large continent of 1.3 billion people. With this experience comes his first developed product for learning folks and educational communities. So with that, Kukoyi, it's great to have you here today. And how you doing?
I'm very well. Thank you, Gary, for having me. I'm pleased to be here on the show. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So tell me a little bit about, first of all, what's going on are you in Lagos today or where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Lagos, Nigeria, yeah, and I'm born here actually. And of course, as you know, it's the 7th most populous, fastest growing city in the world with about 21 million people. And trust me, the street of Lagos is always traffic as usual. Where you want to go to work, you have to wake up at 4 a.m. so that you get to the office before 8 a.m. and things like that. So it's always been a busy atmosphere here in Lagos.
Well, it's amazing. And, you know, we just see so many incredible companies coming out of Nigeria. And most people don't realize that Nigeria has 206 million people. In fact, the continent's got 1.3 billion and growing. In fact, it's suspected that, you know, what's such a youthful population, there's incredible opportunities. So, you know, I like it. You know, the one thing I was reading about your profile, Kukoyi, is you did an innovation summer camp, Kids Invent NG, and it's fascinating. How was it working with those kids?
Well, it was great. No, it's hands-on approach whereby we built some robots, we built products around automations. So it was really hands-on, and that was far back as 2012, whereby the head-on collision of cars, where what we did was we made use of neodymium magnets and then find a way to influx it into the brake pad, whereby once 2 cars are coming head-on, instead of having a head-on collision, there's that kind of a transmission of the fluid down to the brake pad, so the car halts, preventing an accident. But I guess that's like an old technology, right? With the invent of optic cameras, they can sensors that can actually see objects and get to stop. So then it was just more of magnets we were using, and it worked. It actually had an NTA. It was all over the nation. Then as a good stride, but not knowing that more innovations are still going to come across.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah.
Hey, can I ask you a question? You have listed, did you live in the Bronx?
Yes, I did at the time, actually, when I visited an uncle. That was far back, 2010. So the idea was...
How do you go from Lagos in Nigeria to the Bronx?
Yeah, it was my uncle. He came visiting in Nigeria, and I'm like, he saw the capabilities I have, and he was like, Abayomi, I think you need to come over to United States and have a more eye-opening experience, right? So I had to travel across with him. I was in Bronx for like 8 months, thereabouts, and that was where I began to have begin to learn about technology and make programming and all of that, because I get a lot of resources. So I was there for a visit, so I had to come back to Nigeria, and from there it's been bliss.
That's amazing. And what's happening in Nigeria these days? What's it like?
Yeah, these days it's been more of one innovation trouting the others, right? So it's very competitive right now. The market we are having now, it's more like majorly, I guess, talking about investors' interest now, they are more pushed into the fintech. And every investor want to go into fintech, you know, as aligning other sectors of innovations, right? And I'm like, we can't be in fintech for too long, right? At the point, it's going to get saturated where other startups, you have to acquire the smaller chunks of startups and look. So I think it's actually a win-win, but the more of the products we see here are not really disruptive ones. They are more like building on APIs and all of that, and getting which funding are going in there. So it's really exciting, but I actually want to see a situation whereby we are not just building fintechs. It should be fintechs that are solving the unique problem of Africans. The fintech for the home banks, because right now, presently, we have a lot of rural communities in Nigeria where a lot of people don't even have an account. So some companies are already doing that. Like I can't forget this company now. Yeah. So, but we have some companies that are really addressing that, whereby they want to bring like Pega. I want to mention Pega. It's actually a great company, and they're already working to solve the problem of unbanked Nigerians. So these are the kind of ones I call fintech solutions for the people, really.
Well, okay. And what do you see like beyond fintech? What's going to be hot in Nigeria? What's hot? Because we see like supply chain in other places. But what's, you know, I know fintech because you've skipped, first of all, Nigerians are incredibly entrepreneurial and incredibly smart. It's amazing. Well, what do you think is going to be next? What's the next trend? And where does artificial intelligence and quantum computing have to play in Nigeria?
Now, just mentioned it, artificial intelligence seems to find its way into products. If you're having a product in this year and time and you don't have artificial intelligence powering any part of the sector, then trust me, in no time you'll be out of business. Because there's a way artificial intelligence kind of promise sustenance, kind of promise longevity. So this, for us at Quickread, we're already looking at ways to bring in artificial intelligence, and we've already figured out some of them, which has to do with once you're signing up on a platform, it gets to answer you some, like you get to answer some questions. So those questions are what we take in, and our engine, artificial intelligence data set, tends to pick it up and begin to bring up or create relevant books for you. So really, if you're not if anyone is starting up a startup and is not really looking at how artificial intelligence can power its solutions, then I trust in no time this startup might actually go off the market, actually. Because artificial intelligence has come to stay, and at the point, it is real human beings talking to machines. I want to check my account number, for example. I don't even need to even punch a digit. All I need to say is say it in words, and it gets it done. I want to move money. In fact, at the point, I feel fintech is going to move to a point whereby you just say, hello, Leo, kind of transfer $2,000 to this person, and it does it on your behalf without punching the digits. That is not when I felt.
Yeah, you know, but I'll tell you, Kukoyi, from my standpoint, you know I've got my Siri right here, and my Siri turns on every once in a while. I hope it doesn't turn on, at some point in time. We got to get a lot better because you don't want to go down through and having it transferred inadvertently. And, it's actually my one in the living room did it earlier, and this one did it earlier today also. So we got to get a lot better at having these systems understand speech exactly, so we don't have problems. And hopefully you don't have a conversation while you're on your Zoom with a Siri behind you. And I'd love to move money around, and all of a sudden, hasta la vista, baby, there goes the bank account.
That was very fascinating. Yeah, that was very fascinating.
So tell me, what I like about, you've got Quickread, as a content monetization engine, and you're allowing readers to subscribe to global works and pay by the percent of the volume they consume. And it's kind of funny because I know when, I get books and I don't get them like I used to. I use my iPad, but sometimes I don't read the whole book. I read half of the book.
That's a problem. Most people are actually in their shoes.
I like the idea because people could save a lot of money, right? It would be very interesting. You go through 2 or 3 chapters and it kind of dry and sucks, forget about it. So I like to play as you go. So tell me a little bit about, how many customers do you have today for Quickread?
Okay. Yeah, we have about 2,000 users, and we just started 5 months ago. And in those periods, we've been able to be in 2 tertiary institutions, University of Lagos. Yeah, they both reside here in Lagos, University of Lagos and Lagos State University.
Yeah.
So these are 2 different universities that are localized in various regions of the state, right? So these 2 universities are pilot audience, and ever since we've been able to onboard about 30 plus academicians who are actively uploading their books. So basically what even got us to solving Quickread.
Kukoyi? Can you hear me?
Need a solution that will allow people. Are you there?
Yeah, we lost you for a second, Kukoyi.
Yes. Okay. So I was saying that I wanted to paint a picture of what brought us to this, right? So we studied the market, and we discovered that very few numbers of players are in Africa. So what we've been able to do is that, for example, I want to give you a little bit of statistics. Of course, Africa is a latecomer to the digital world, and while it has made huge strides, others and publishers have been slow to climb on board. Yeah. So that's in large part due to the absence of the big 5 Western ebook retailers on the continent. Only Google Play has dedicated ebook stores serving Africa. Only Google Play. One in South Africa and one in Egypt. Elsewhere, Google Play book is blocked. I can't even access Google Play book here in Nigeria. Amazon allows downloads in some countries, like South Africa, but imposes the $2 Hispanic surcharge on every download, even for free books. So these are constraints. So for most of the continent, the Kindle store is not even visible to local people. You can't even see your Kindle, like Amazon Kindle. No, you can't see it here in Africa. So Apple has no presence at all on the continent. Right. And the same, of course, for Nook. These are the big 5 Western ebook retailers are not even present here, except Google Play, and just in 2 countries. Kobo has some theoretical Pan-African reach, but this is negated by its failure to offer localized payment to partner stores. A few countries have domestic, like the landscape in Nigeria, of course, a few countries in Africa have domestic ebook stores. Nigeria, Kenya, Algeria, Egypt, and South Africa, even Ghana. Ghana has its own audiobook operation, Apple Books. But broadly speaking, outside these countries, there is simply no ebook infrastructure on the continent. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the lights went down for a second.
Yes, the lights went down. So I had to, that's the situation we find ourselves in Nigeria. So it is that, but am I clear now? Yeah, so but broadly speaking, as I said earlier, outside these countries, there is simply no ebook infrastructure on the continent to support the development of ebook embrace. But if you are thinking, surely there can't be enough people online to make ebooks worthwhile in Africa, it's a problem of perception and penetration, actually. Perception is understandable. Africa really makes the headline in the first world. And when it does, it's usually for all the wrong reasons, of course. And there is no question that Africa is way behind other parts of the world in internet adoption, which brings us to penetration. Internet penetration in Africa is just 35%, but that's across the whole continent. And that number disguises the exciting reality of Africa's global potential that Quickread have recognized and are working towards. Take Ghana, for example. Ghana is just ahead of the continental average at 34.3% penetration. So right now, but with a population of 29 million, Ghana has over 10 million people online. That's more than Sweden and on par with Belgium. And then there is Nigeria itself. Nigeria at just 52% penetration, and this share is projected to grow to 65.3% in 2025. That's about 98 million people online. Yes, that's about 98 million people online at the start of this year. That's more than any country in Europe except Russia. So in fact, Nigeria is by number of people online, the 8th largest country in the world. So there's plenty of room for Quickread to surprise us for the incoming years. So I begin to wonder, why are these ebooks, large ebook retailers, why are they not seeing this? So, I also come from the point of value proposition, whereby, I have a medical background. So while in school, I used to buy this book of, let's say, 30,000 naira. That's quite very expensive for us. So, and once I'm done with the year, this book becomes redundant. I don't even get to read them anymore. So the 30,000 is just a waste like that. I only have to read them for, like, let's say 8 months, after which I move to another form of program. So what if there is a system where I could actually read what I need at that point where I am and save more? Yeah. Then we discover that there is no link between authors and publishers. That's authors and readers. You write a book, someone buys it, and it goes to consume it all itself and begins to form a world around the book. But this time, with Quickread, you can actually chat with an author. You can actually engage with an author. You can actually ask an author to give you to shed more light to whatever content he or she has written on. Wow, so that's what these are the dimensions that Quickread is coming to really see how it can provide more value for book readers and visual readers, basically. Yeah.
Well, I got a question for you, Kukoyi. What's your view of your company, right? So Quickread, what do you think, how's your business going to grow over the next year?
Yeah, so over the next year, I see us already making, let's say, I see us already piloting out of Nigeria. That's a fact over the next 1 year, because because we have a value proposition. That's just it, and we believe that's what's going to sell us. Everybody wants to conserve. Nobody wants to think between dinner and buying book. Maybe it cost me 1,500 naira for a dinner, and I'm seeing a book that I really want to digest for another 1,500. So I'm beginning to think between my tummy and the book. So this platform gives you a kind of, come on, buy what you need to buy and leave the rest of the book. Most times, books are like that. At some point, you might need a part of it. So we are seeing us going big in Africa in less than a year. We are seeing us moving to other African nations that have huge reader population. Then also, maybe the coming year, we kind of pivot to a global, because it's actually a global platform, basically. So we are yet to address, we are yet to address the SSCs.
So how do you go down through? I'm just curious, right? Yeah. What country, if you look at, so the first target's Nigeria, what country's next? How are you going to look at what country to penetrate?
Yes, the number of active users.
I got it.
That the number of people who are readers naturally. How many of these populations are online already? So right now we are looking at, of course, the right move for us here in Nigeria is from Nigeria to Ghana, because we tend to have the same marketplace. We tend to have the same, though there are fewer people there, but whatever works here in Nigeria will definitely work in Ghana.
Why
Why
is it so similar? I'm very curious about it.
Yes, I think it has to do with our culture, kind of, I guess. Because at a point, most of Ghanaians, they reside here in Nigeria. In fact, we still have a lot of them around. So they understand the culture already. It's as if when you say Ghanaian person, you almost would not even recognize the Ghanaian. You think it's a Nigerian. So there is a very thin line in between us. So basically, we have the same culture, kind of. The way we look at things, our perception for things is easy. So once you can get the mind of Nigerians, trust me, Ghana should be your next stop. Then afterwards, you can look at East Africa.
We just had a question. The question is, when will Quickread be available for audiobooks?
Yes. Our approach for audiobooks is even different from what we know now. What we want to do is every of the platforms where you can get sachet model per time, per page, per chapter, or percentage volume, every of those chapters will be transcribed into audio. But our idea of audio is to target native countries that don't speak English. That's where we're going to be starting from. So there is no point having a text in English and I'm transcribing that text that is written in English in an English language.
Right,
Come on, you can read that yourself, right? So what we want to do is to say, okay, this book is in English. We have to transcribe it to Russia. Okay, let's transcribe it to French. Those are the first market we need to take care of. So audiobooks is already in the pipeline. And beyond that, as I said, Quickread is a content monetization engine. So it's not just for literary works. At some point, we also move into.
Kukoyi, you froze for
I was saying, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard you.
So I was saying Quickread will go beyond just literary works. We will go into other form of contents. So, but we're just starting out with this. And from there, we move the platform into, there are other areas where we can apply our reading models to, actually.
Excellent. So, question for you, as you're going down through this journey, what kind of companies would you be interested in? I have a very wide audience. Who would you be interested in partnering with? Is it companies like Amazon, or who would be like prime partners for you?
Yeah, so our prime partners are big time publishers. I'm talking about the Mango Hill. I'm talking about the Random House. I'm talking about Auto House. I'm talking about big aggregators like Book Baby. So these are the kind of people, not really necessarily Amazon's, because Amazon is doing what we're doing, just that.
So you're looking for them, the publishers, yeah?
Yes, publishers, yes. But then what our approach is even different. What we want to do is to talk to aggregators, basically. That's our primary target. Talk to aggregators, then from there we move to publishers. They are the small wins. Aggregators can easily be converted, right? So we go for the small wins, then from there we go to other huge publishing houses, basically. So, yeah.
And how much money are you raising? Are you raising money right now, Kukoyi?
Yes, we're raising money. That's about $300,000 to get about $300,000.
Right.
To get about 3 million users in 8 months, basically.
So $300,000. So VCs, angel investors that are out there, take a look at it. $300,000 in terms of investment in this incredible company. We just, it's interesting. We just had a note. It says, I realize that CNN has been on for some time, especially for African countries. For example, there's a news platform in Pidgin English, Yoruba, and other Nigerian language. Can Quickread think of localizing content reading, starting with popular local languages?
That's it. And I think that person actually spoke my mind because there's no point in transcribing what has already been written in English in audiobooks.
Right.
No, it's not. I
Got
think
it.
that was clear. Yeah.
All right, sounds great. We're coming up to the top of the hour, Kukoyi. I want to say thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and honoring us with your presence today. So if you can speak to other Africans, other Nigerians about doing startups, what would you say to them today? What kind of words of encouragement?
Yes, please stay focused and don't get distracted. Look at Africa and make sure that whatever you're building can easily relate to Africans. That's basically, we have a lot of problems already. So solving them one time or the other will make us globally competitive in no time across the continent. Yeah, I discovered that, that there are a lot of issues with African startups, funding, and lots of that, a whole lot of them. But just stay focused on your grind and look in depth, look intuitively into the African landscape. And there are a lot of problems already. Just get them solved and make Africa a better place.
Absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Make Africa a better place. Incredible talent, incredible people, dreams come true. You know, we've been going down to Africa now, not that long, just over the last year, but there's incredible companies out there, incredible people that really want to make a dramatic a difference. Somebody else has one more question. So we love it. And you know, we're encouraged by the fact that countries like Nigeria have really taken leadership positions on the African continent to be able to move things forward very quickly. So it's quite incredible. How can people get a hold of you? What's the best way to reach you?
That'll be LinkedIn. LinkedIn, yeah. Just linkedin.com/Toto. TOWTOE. Yeah.
TOWTOE. So that's how you get
Yes.
hold of them. So I want to thank you again. My name's Gary.
Thank you, Gary.
And I'm the CEO, co-founder, and president of GSD Venture Studios of Premier AI and Quantum. And I appreciate everybody joining my show, GSD Presents, Gary's Picks with VC Task Force, an incredible group of people that are the most connected worldwide that I know in the venture capital investment space with ideas, with action, and with kindness. So I want to thank everybody again. We'll be back again next week for another, in 2 weeks for another edition of Gary's Picks. Stay tuned, stay happy, stay humble, and let's go get them. Thanks again. Thank you, Kukoyi.
Thank you. Thank you, Gary, for having me.
Task Force for hosting my show. I appreciate it. And let's go get them. Thank you.
And Gary, before you go, would you mention, oh, he left already. Thank you so much for your interview. Just staying connected. I look forward to talking with you again. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, June.
Take care
I really
now.
appreciate having me. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.